It's 6:01, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'll call this meeting to order. Lonnie seems to be the only one absent. You've got minutes in front of you from our June meeting. Give everyone time to kind of read over those.
First one I did, not this, was the last one.
Got a pretty good record, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Give it to me, please.
Got it. First one I did.
Does anyone see any corrections that need to be made?
No.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
No.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Mr. Belcher, all in favor? Any opposed? That passes, so we'll get on with the rest of our agenda here. All right, well, it looks like we have gotten to the end of the road for this committee for our rezoning that needs to be done. So, yeah, all the rezoning stuff we've been doing. Cleaning everything up, getting the two zoning ordinances together, cleaned as one document. So Rick having all that done, now the next step would be us sending it on to planning commission. By state ordinance, or statute, they have to review it before it goes to the full commission. Because it is a zoning ordinance. So I guess that's where we're kind of at with it right now. And if there's any questions for Rick, go ahead and kind of clean things up. And
I don't know who this is a question for, and I don't know if it was, I don't remember going over it.
Mhm.
Do we have we're talking what?
so the rezonings, I keep saying rezonings, the combining, the cleaning up of the zoning ordinance that we've been working on,
Some, not codes.
same thing.
Okay.
Well, it's not I guess I don't want to confuse you there. It's not the.
Let me ask my specific question.
Please. I'm kind of floundering here.
Yeah, me too. Does Trousdale County have a code that tells the propane gas companies how to put the gas line between the propane tank and the gas in the house?
No,
No.
there is a rule on
There's
that.
the state of Tennessee one,
Yes.
but there's no.
There's no reason for the county. We've never found a reason for the county to get involved
Unless,
unless you're gonna make it further than what the state says.
no.
But the state trumps the county, so it wouldn't make any
Okay.
difference. They're not supposed to be installed unless they're doing it themselves, which.
Can they then turn around and charge you if you say you want it? Do it down.
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
That's outside of my knowledge.
Okay,
So I know that's also covered in the fuel gas code.
Yeah.
okay,
So there are building codes for that, but that's separate from the zoning that we're doing here. I know you had mentioned in conversation about the PUD zoning, where we're gonna go back over that. Our last meeting in June, you can see in the minutes, that was the last discussion we had, was the size of the PUD going to 2 acres instead of the 5. So we changed that, and at that point, everyone was good with it, and so that's now being included with this cleanup of zoning. So if anyone has any further questions for Rick, that they've run across something and otherwise, I'll be looking for a motion to send it on to
I
planning.
missed that B, but what was the reason for 2 places class?
When that was minimum two,
Suggested
Yeah,
it
the minimum
because-
is
we changed from
They
minimum
lowered-
45 to 2.
Because I know where my
Before it was
sisters
just five.
lived at one point, it was not on 5 acres and they were really, really nice. So when I forced it to be large enough, the more units you have, that's gonna be self-owned by people on 5 acres, the more people have to agree to, let's pave the driveway. That's, and hers was really nice, and it was probably not more than 2.
The idea was it allowed you to get more developments qualifying for a PUD zoning, which would
Okay.
lock in the project. That was the thing that Lonnie had brought up in that discussion.
And then you say you knew someone who had that low? A county?
It was in that.
Not the county, I
Commercial
think,
and
I think
residential.
Ashland City is at 2, I don't think the county is.
So that was the justification.
All right.
And then,
And that'll also allow too, like for these smaller lots that are trying to get rezoned to R3 and we're saying, okay, how many units can be on there?
Yeah.
This PUD will absolutely have to map that out so that you have visibility of that because, what you could see right now, unless they have a survey for a rezone, you really don't know how much acreage they
I
have.
stopped it where Rice's old store was the other day. That's a big lot. Could be a lot of.
I think 6 is the most that they can get in there.
But the posts go out way back.
Actually, that's not a whole lot. It's like 3 lots stacked. It's kind of weird.
Very pity of the people next door.
Well, and that'll be another discussion I want to have towards the end of the meeting today. So anything as far as what we've been working on, any final thoughts, discussion? Like I said, if not, I'll entertain a motion to send it on to planning.
We did have that discussion about, where I had found that the hardship, permit being issued for a hardship, it was taken away back in 2014 for medical hardship. Apparently, people were allowed to put a mobile home on their property in addition to the house for medical hardship. And they were allowed to stay there for a certain period of time, and they were allowed to extend it past that period of time. And I think there was a lot of different issues, but it was in our ordinances.
You couldn't get to people to get rid of it.
Thus, we have a lot of lots that are maybe an acre that have 3 mobile homes on there. So that was taken out, but it was still showing up. Pieces of it was showing up in our ordinance, and so we had to find that.
Could you address that for us, Rick? I know we were emailing back and forth on that.
The medical hardship is gone. What is left is called special hardship. After a fire, or if you're building a new house, you can have temporary residence on that lot while you're constructing what was torn down or burned down or blew down, what have you. And there's time limits there. You can have it for up to 18 months, I believe.
And I believe in our discussion, you mentioned there's also a state regulation on that. Did I see that correctly?
See that?
Not requiring it. There's provisions for it. If you do it a certain way.
Okay.
But
But we
not,
mentioned referencing the state ordinance on that versus,
Camper, trailer, and they'll get them all.
I don't know that I would include that really. I mean, it's there. If someone wants to take advantage of it, I wouldn't offer it up as a sacrificial lamb. I just leave it out and leave it as it is, as a special hardship, and go from there. If the question comes up, it becomes important,
Mhm.
A point of contention, it can always be dropped in, but I think at this point, I just leave it like it is.
or we can just lean back on the states.
Right.
And go from
There's
there.
nothing in either ordinance right now addressing it. So I would leave it out until it becomes necessary.
Okay.
Because what we allow right now for building permits, when they're building a house, they're allowed to live on the property, provided they have an active building permit and an RV. Because they're there to protect their building supplies, because
People stay.
those tend to walk if there's not somebody there
Oh, yeah.
watching it.
And that remains. The only thing that changed was the length of time for the subsequent permit issue, and it dropped down to 18 months, I think.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? I know we've been working on this for a long time. I really thank for all of your time and patience and the conversations that have been had on it. I think this is really gonna make things a lot easier, for people to be able to look and understand what they can and can't do on their properties and clear things up, and might actually cause some people to get a little upset and want some more changes done to the ordinances now that they know, it's all wrote out, and that's fine. And at least they know what it is, so we can fix it as the population needs it fixed.
Does this mean you won't be back anymore?
Oh, I'll be back for a few more times. The shepherd and the flock, so to speak.
I make a motion to approve it, pass it on to the planning.
Fine. Do I have a second?
Okay. Hey,
All right.
So which one?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, I will, we'll get with Mr. Kerr and, try to get this on next month's agenda with planning, and hopefully talking with Lonnie, after the work session. Hopefully if there aren't any major changes that planning wants to do with it, and they send it with a favorable, then we'll try to get it in work session, for September. And then, depending on how receptive the commission is, how much discussion, Rick gets involved with, the full commission explaining and whatnot. If everyone's satisfied, we can either vote on it in the September meeting, or we can wait till October and have another work session to discuss it.
It's gonna be, September is gonna be your change of, who's in charge of the
Leadership.
committees.
Yeah.
You might wanna wait till the next month. Or,
Also new officers for
yeah, new officers.
Brandon Museum.
Well, I don't see planning changing much, unless he just refuses to take the position.
who's he?
Your brother.
Johnny,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think he's got one more year.
I'm
I'm hoping.
gonna nominate him.
No, September is, because today, this is the last week for planning, and we've got several rezoning and several
Yeah.
subdivision plans that'll be reviewing as well, so.
Just wondered if you might
Yeah.
wanna put it off of another month.
Well, that'll come on planning.
Okay.
I mean, I can make the suggestion to Mr. Kerr of how we want to do it, but
Yeah.
it's on him as the chairman of when we take it up and how long it stays with him.
That'd be fine.
So,
Yeah, sure.
but that's kind of the way I'd like to give the commission as much time to be able to have it explained to them of what we've done, how we've done it. We've got all these meetings have been recorded, so they've all had access to listen to what's been the discussion if they're willing to. Don't want to drag it out too long because we're coming up on December and we won't have a December meeting. I'd like to get it done before, next year. Like I said, we've worked on this long enough that I'm just glad to see it getting towards the end. We just get across the finish line. So like I said, I'll get with Mr. Kerr and talk with him and see what he wants to do. And, we'll go from there, but state law says it has to go to planning for review first. All right, so burn permit, if you'll look in your packet. So just to refresh everyone's memory, our last meeting, Fire Chief Bueller was here and we discussed about the time limit there. And he was pretty adamant that he wants the time limit to be the day you get your permit. So that means you won't be able to burn on Sundays. And if you don't get your permit before noon on Saturday, you won't be able to burn on Saturdays. So if you get your permit on Monday, the permit's only good for that day. We still have the $20 application fee in there. I don't know if it really hasn't been, I mean, that's to pay for any extra cost to Rita, and the rest goes to the fire department. At least that's the way we've been talking. Is there anything else? My thought, and I'm gonna bring it to steering, once it comes out of here, taking it to the first responders and let that committee have a crack at it, see if there's any changes they wanna make. Fire is under their purview, and this is all about fire, so.
I think it would help this and what money left over going to the fire department.
Yeah. So
That would help.
let them have a look at this and see if there's any changes they wanna make to it. But this is, from the discussions we've had, we've kind of taken, well, we've kind of beaten this dead to a dead horse now, so I don't really know. We've taken what was given to us. I think we've done the best we can with what the chief's wanting it to look like. We've tried to change the verbiage a little bit to try to make it a little more palatable. But here's the burn permit as we've been asked. So I think we've done all we can do with it. Unless y'all have another opinion or want to make some other changes to it. I entertain a motion to send this on out.
Motion.
So we'll send this to first responders. If they don't want to take it up, then it'll just go to the full commission. All in favor? Any opposed? That's what we'll do with it. It's nice to get some stuff off the list here. All right, so the next question we've got before us, next item is the liquor stores. So this one's a weird one. And it was brought to my attention, the little dilemma we have here. So at one point, there was an ordinance. I remember one of them are ordinances and one of them resolutions anyway, for the old city of Hartsville. It says you can only have 2 liquor stores within the city limits. I know for a fact there were 3 in the late 80s, 90s. And I think at one point there was 4.
Yeah, cause I worked at one of them.
Because currently we have 2. There's another individual who's looking to open another liquor store. And everyone kind of said, well, hold on, and referred back to that, but then saw the inconsistencies coming forward. But that ordinance is still sitting on the book saying you can only have 2 in the city limits. Well, Rita looked it up. So I'm going solely off of her research, was that it was 2, but she said, no, I can remember there's been at most 4, but there were 3 that I can remember, because there was the one there by Minute Mark, the depot, and then the one out on 25 going out of town towards Carthage. So, and apparently the one up here by Rodney's Mark, by Minute Mark, they actually went to court and sued the city in order to get theirs put in. So I don't know if that lawsuit then trumped that ordinance, but the ordinance is still on the books. So what you have before you is a proposed ordinance. So therefore it be ordained in Hartsville, Trousdale County Commission as follows. For the purpose of this ordinance is declare the Hartsville, Trousdale County shall not impose a numerical limit on the number of liquor stores or package stores, and I don't know the difference, but it's the legal terminology, that may operate within the county. So that would then open it up, not just the old city limits, because we're a metro now. You could, if I want to say it's the guy, Breakpoint is wanting to have a small liquor store in his place or adjacent to it on that property.
Where
break point at the four-way stop, the new gas station.
Oh,
Um,
where,
he's the one who brought it to everyone's attention of, hey, he came in trying to get a permit and hit a roadblock. And that's pretty much the gist of it. So that there'd be no limits. Cause I mean, honestly, that's where most of our sales tax comes from. So we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot by putting a limit on,
Keller's that sells it by the drink.
well, we don't get as much from that as we do from the liquor stores.
No.
So that is the ordinance that, Rita has asked, to clean her books up. Just to clean any confusion of what that lawsuit actually did or didn't do. It's just a straightforward, just takes that completely out.
What did our lawyer say? You talked to him?
He's actually the one who came up with the word. He got involved long before I did.
Oh, okay.
And he was of the same thing. It's just easier, instead of trying to go through all the case law about it, but just clean it up and be done.
I say the state, they think it's too many, they'll stop.
They're the one who issues all the
That's right,
permits for
they
it.
issue the permit.
Yep.
They think there's too many, please, they won't issue.
And that is section 3 there, compliance with state and local laws. All liquor stores and package stores operating within Charleston County must, and then it lists all the 3 requirements there. So that they are in compliance with all the tobacco, firearms, and can't remember the other. Tobacco, firearms, and what's the third one? Alcohol. That'd be the one. It's been a long day. I apologize. All right, so what do you want to do with this?
Make a motion.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second? We got a second. All in favor? Any opposed? It passes. We'll send that on to the full commission.
Okay. Was that what the motion was?
That's what he wanted to, for the night, planning, wanted us to look about expanding down there. He said, over here next to the parking lot, they want to make a little small building.
Yeah.
He said restaurant, but it'd be a liquor store
Look
now.
for what he's asking for.
But a lot over here.
Yeah.
He's a motel, guaranteed.
Oh, that would be great.
What about a red light there?
That would be amazing.
Didn't you say it would do that?
State of Tennessee, talk to TDOT. And the last discussion I heard coming about that, because I've asked multiple times, was TDOT says they'll put it up if we pay for it. And it's a little over $100,000.
Big state roads.
Exactly. That's because they say there's not enough traffic that warrants a red light there.
Really just 2 times a day. Isn't it?
So,
There's heavy traffic in morning, heavy after.
Yeah. But that was, and you've seen the counter boxes with the hose stretched across. They check it about every year now.
Maybe they're hoping the new road from Lafayette will take a lot of that off.
Well, we'll see.
They will.
It'll take some. There's one other thing I just. Under other. So we had a rezoning come before the full commission, for another R3. We're getting a lot of R3s on small lots. You drive down East Main, and as soon as you top the hill there at the highway department, I mean, they're just right down through there, just rows of them. At some point, we've got to, as a commission, we've got to decide, do we want to start limiting that and tell the planning commission, hey guys, we only want this in these areas. Or we're gonna have just lot after lot of duplexes and quadplexes. Because, well, it's more profitable for the landowner that's renting. The more units you can get on a property, the more revenue you've got coming in. How do we want Trousdale County to look?
Everybody's heard, the R3, that's what they do.
Yeah.
I'm voting against it now. I've been voting against it for several months.
How do you even go about limiting? You just have to limit to a certain area, or?
You could, I know other jurisdictions have limited in ways of, in development in the way they do. So like Lebanon has their South Hartman corridor. I've never seen something so limited in all my life. I don't know how anyone gets anything built in that corridor. And that corridor goes from 231 all the way around South Hartman, all the way down back to 231 and down West Main to the west, all the way down to Kroger. It is so limited in what the building has to look like, what your parking has to be like. I mean, it's really limited. And I'm not talking about going that far, but I am suggesting that we need to start looking at maybe limiting where we're putting these apartment complexes so that we don't become so dense, we don't look like
Traffic's so
Hartsville
bad.
anymore. Yeah, and your traffic and
How much can you do with the PUD? I mean, all that,
well, a PUD you could do, I mean, yeah, you can, because at that point, and Rick, you can speak to this better than I can.
It's not gonna affect the density much. It's gonna affect how you see it on the front end and what you do with it on the front end.
So as far as limiting it, you geographically, how could we go about doing that from a planning standpoint?
You have to amend your plan and stick to that.
So our, well, I guess, our, the growth, that's what I'm looking for. Which we have one, but it's 20 years old.
Oh, let's work on that now.
As well, yeah.
that's what I mean, can you limit like?
We had a
number per
ARC
year?
come in and do that, but
You can,
only 3 or 4 off.
on that grant, on your
Commissioner
growth
showed
plan,
Yeah.
what you can do is you can limit what areas that growth. And that's the county saying, we want these type of buildings built here. We want these type of buildings built over here. And you kind of can start separating. I wanted to start doing that when all these I-1 zones started popping up that were empty, you know, like when the tobacco barn burnt down. So we didn't have a concrete plant right there in the middle of town. Or when Old Texas Boot was sitting empty, you know, but so you didn't have a junkyard in the middle of your residential area. These things could have happened back, but we didn't have a plan. There was nothing planning could do because they were already zoned that way. And
Can you just stop it? Can you just say no more R3?
I don't know if you can stop that.
No more new stuff going to
You
R3.
can stop it by saying, oh, there's not, traffic is too building.
You could do it from an infrastructure standpoint. You could try it as long as the commission held to that because of, well, our increasing limit on our water supply.
It's a real factor.
It is a real factor. It's, but the thing is it's not just, like I said, it's not just the appearance that you have to look at, which is a factor, but then your traffic factors, your water supply. I mean, Will Dennis lives out there on Browning there at Snake Hollow. He said his water pressure's dropped in half in the last couple of years. Well, we got that new water tower, which was supposed to fix that, but we've had so much growth. That water tower is now, you need another one to bring the levels back up. And we don't really have a director.
You're gonna get so much out of what you got.
Yeah, they're gonna have to build a second water treatment plant, and I know they have a plan, it's in their 20-year plan, the water department, to do that. I just don't know how far down that plan it is. And I don't know if they ever replaced Tommy or not.
Was it Gallup or somebody that's done that recently?
He is taking it over.
Was it Gallup or somebody that done that recently? You couldn't, they weren't issuing,
Hendersonville.
they wasn't issuing permits because of something.
Yeah, for traffic. They put a stop to all apartments, I believe, multi-unit.
Yeah, that big lot coming in, where the red light is, coming into Galveston.
Yeah.
That guy's been, what, 3 or 4 times he's been to planning, they turned him down because.
Yeah, they're
Of
across
traffic.
from the entrance to
I mean, this
Facebook.
falls right in line with what I said from the beginning, but.
Yeah.
We're running, why people even want to come here?
So Ken, how do we go about getting started, what you were just talking about?
Well, that was at first, I just wanted to bring it to as a conversation. is this something we want to start looking into?
Pretty quickly.
Because there are legal things that, you can't do. You can't, there's certain legalities, we just can't tell a property owner, no, you can't do that. You have to, it has to be part of a grand plan. It has to be, you can't just single out certain entities.
I'd like to keep Highway 25 nice.
Well, you have to get some of your other commissioners on board with that.
Well,
And I'm not opposed to bringing that legislation, back through here and bring it back up again.
I have a question. That's about the high school. They were so hot and heavy to build those houses and apartments and they got low rent put on them. And all of a sudden, ain't seen no dirt moved and nothing.
And they can't do anything until they get approved for that, and they haven't brought a site plan to you. You really can't do anything until they get a site plan approved.
And they didn't
But they
get,
were hot
that
and
is
heavy.
still say
and
pending.
they didn't get their grant money
Yeah,
from the state for it either.
they haven't actually bought
I
it
don't
yet.
think
It
they-
still says
I don't
pending.
think they've awarded that yet.
I thought they
They're
done
still
all.
waiting on it.
So
I
what
thought it said pending.
Cal was
It
saying
couldn't
is that
change
he doesn't
recently.
believe they're gonna get it then,
We don't know that.
because it's not just for Trousdale County, it's for a whole district.
Can we take that back?
Can we take what back?
Well, if we're gonna want Highway 25 to be
No,
nice.
you've already rezoned it. There's nothing you can do.
No.
I say that, and this argument has been kicked around. I keep being told, as I'm trying to learn and become more aware of some of those zoning laws and how this all goes about, that the county cannot initiate zoning. That only property owners can. That being said, the planning commission sent, I don't know how many rezonings forward to the full commission, because the state of Tennessee came through, looked at their map and said, okay, every property along this major thoroughfare is now commercial, and just whoop, they all went commercial.
Yeah.
Even on Hilltop, where there was no road access to 25, because we had to rezone all those properties that backed up to 25, because the state just rezoned them.
Broadway, they did Broadway that way.
And just did it on their own. Property owners were never called, nothing.
And did that make their taxes go up?
No, because they weren't being used as commercial. It did cause some problems when they went to try to refinance though. Some of the banks weren't letting them
They
refi.
cost the guy down on 231, his house,
I was just
Yeah.
wondering if it cost that one guy to go to jail and
commercial. taxes.
Of that. So Rick, there's gotta be something that we can do reaching out maybe to property owners, or, because if the state can just willy-nilly do it, there's gotta be something that the county can do.
Well, I may be speaking out of turn, but there's nothing that guarantees anybody a rezoning when they come in.
Yeah.
County or city is not obligated to rezone property when they present it.
Okay.
So if the governing body thinks that it's out of place, there's no requirement that that zoning take place. Yeah, it doesn't have to be approved. And I mean, short of redoing your growth plan, and I've searched for it on here, the only thing I can find is the county growth plan that was approved in 2000.
That's the only one we got.
It's 25 years old.
Yes, sir.
I don't know that I've ever seen a separate plan for Hartsville. There was only one that I could find.
Yeah.
There's not much in there that limits or gives the county a way to limit growth. It just, what was intended by the growth law was that there be designated certain areas like planned growth areas and areas within the urban growth boundary
Yeah.
for that growth. But I don't find anything in there that's specific. It's all general.
And when I read through it, the only thing I found was it's stating where growth areas would be, but not should be.
Yeah.
It predicts, these are the areas that
Yeah.
will be.
me means must.
No, where it's going to be, not where the county says it should be placed. It's just stating, like, it talks about the 231 corridor, that, in this 20-year period, this is going to be a large populated area. And yes, it has become a large populated area. That's those sort of things. It didn't say that should be a high density, population area. It just says it will be.
Okay, so at this point, let me ask a question that I've never understood. Someone owned all that land, where Hartman Drive is. Who decided it was gonna be a road? And someone owned, well, that's state road over there, but who? 30 years ago, I considered buying this house in a new subdivision in Lebanon. Ended up signing, I couldn't afford it. But they said, and you'll be protected because behind you is gonna be a stores and stuff, little plaza. And they didn't build that for 20 years. The story, where are those decisions made and how are they made when there's not even roads?
I think that used to be Doug's family. Cooper Doug. And what, can't remember what his last name was, Hundred.
Right.
That was, their farm.
But no, it's a different side of town. But how do those decisions get made?
Well, the process winds up at the foot of the council. And at the time Hartman Drive was laid out and approved,
By who?
one of the council members was a former assistant TDOT commissioner. He wasn't TDOT commissioner, he was assistant commissioner, but he was on the council. And they imposed on TDOT the need for a connector to get across town and to get out to the interstate. And that's how it came about.
So
Came from north, 231 north, and connected Castle Heights Avenue
so the
in one part
homeowners,
and connected Hartman Drive in another. Hartman was there long ago, but they connected
Right.
across 231
Right.
and extended it all the way around to 231 on the south side.
do you think it'll go to 141 or 10?
I wish it would. We've tried for years, but it hasn't made it through yet.
You don't know if that's in the plan.
It's in the plans, but getting it funded and getting the product.
So the commission decided we're gonna do this, make this
Well,
road.
They got
Who
TDOT to fund it. They used money at the state for interstate connectors for the industry and the commercial businesses that were going to use that road. That's how they funded it.
Then the state paid the homeowners.
They paid 90% of it and city paid 5 or whatever.
So we don't have an interstate to connect to.
Right.
We need more roads.
Let me correct you on that. We
Okay.
do have an interstate to connect to. It's 40, and that's why we have 141 being built now.
Okay, you're correct.
But that is, we kind of did the same thing back in the late 90s.
870 was stopped by
Yes, by Sumner County.
30
They
years
took it to court.
Hudson County
It's
stopped.
gonna look completely different
What,
down there.
what about 840? It was supposed to come out in Castaic Springs. I thought Sumner County took it to court, cause they went to go through their farmland.
When you go down the interstate, you turn and go towards Murfreesboro, but you can't turn right, go back that way because, like Lowry and several other real rich people built that big subdivision right away.
So in other words, the state has to
And
get
that's how.
involved.
Oh, absolutely.
Stopped the
Yeah, it's too much money.
840
Cities
going
can't
all the
afford
way
it
to
on
the
their
gallon.
own.
All right, so let's bring it back to the topic at hand. So is this something we want to take up as far as limiting and I'm asking in this body, because I mean, Jeff, this is something you're doing now.
Well, I ain't did it yet.
Well, but you,
Working on it, yeah.
you see it and you see the benefits for doing it.
I think the impact fee we did is gonna slow some of it down, but it's
Yeah.
already been a bunch built.
Yeah, and so far it ain't slowed anything down.
We've been
More
voting this
coming
through the commission, you
More
know,
coming
if
on.
R3 is close to there, we've
Yep.
been putting R3 with it.
Yep.
What I've seen of them, even the ones that you were talking about on that road, they're nice looking.
They are.
And we're actually in a different generation now. A lot of people don't have houses. They can't afford houses.
Yep.
And it's the only place they can live.
But do we want them on Highway 25?
Well, Highway 25 is considered an arterial road. That's where you would want them it's meant to be high density. traffic.
Where all the traffic coming in of these people going, and you're trying to get to work.
That's why you live there. For
You don't want it on East Main, which is considered a secondary, or you don't want it on Western. where you're narrower road
We
and,
want it on the third area.
Just look,
Third area.
you
third
been
area.
watching the news with Nashville done, they took that old neighborhood and they put it R3.
Yeah.
Took away out, them old people,
I never did that.
they took away out all them houses, neighbors they didn't want to give up their neighborhood. Cause they zoned it.
so that's why I wanted, the idea, one is planning. Let's just learn, as a county, let's start doing things on purpose
Yeah.
instead of tripping over ourselves and having to clean it up after the fact.
I mean, it seriously needs to be looked at from all standpoints, because of the water and.
Yeah.
Traffic and everything else, I mean, like I said, if you don't get a hold of it, you're gonna have a mess.
Cause I mean, we have, as a national problem, we're having a housing shortage still. Now you have, on top of that, you have the higher interest rates and the higher cost of housing, which, like Jeff said, now you're creating a whole generation who can't afford to buy a house anymore. They have to rent.
I was looking at about it. A house, brand new house, $344,000.
And
Nobody
that's,
afford that.
that's not even a
That's
big
probably not
house.
even partial, is it?
Yeah, that was there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was in a subdivision here, around here close.
Yeah.
$344,000.
You know those core civic apartments?
Mhm.
Up on Hilltop,
Yeah.
$1,200 a month.
oh yeah, you can't get,
My house payment.
as far as I'm aware, the newer built apartments, you can't find one less than $1,000 a month.
They can't afford that either.
Never my boys want a yard to maintain.
Yeah.
They don't
And that's a whole nother, yeah.
Some of them don't wanna take care of a house.
What's
Yeah.
that?
They want something go wrong,
Yeah.
hey, come over here, something's tore up, or
Yeah.
send somebody over to fix
Well,
it.
they don't,
I was
Nobody
pretty
owns
nice.
it.
That's why-
Condominiums, nice.
Even on River Valley
No
Drive,
yard.
we have all those townhomes that they were approved to build.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
sell
it's
those now.
when you're all together,
Hold on, let's one at a time.
someone you don't live with.
Judy,
All right,
Yes.
she's talking.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, even if they don't want a yard, they can buy a townhome, just like they have up on River Valley Drive. It's called Five Oak now. They can buy the townhome, they don't have a yard, they have a nice little back area that has a patio and everything. So they own the house, they get the tax credit, and they don't have to do a yard, and they get trash pickup.
So, like I said, the discussion, is the way I see it, is one, is it, well, the important part, why I wanted to bring it up, do we want to take this up next in this body? Two, if we do take it up, I would like us to look at it from, like you were saying, from all the different facets of it, because I'm not against it. I see the need for it. I hope everyone else, as you're dealing with this, can see that need, that we need some apartments, but do we want to turn into Gallatin and Hendersonville where apartments are the number one thing being built, and we're getting away from single family homes? There is a tax benefit to the county for these apartment complexes. So, because they get taxed at a little higher rate than the single family homes do. So there's that side of it. There's also the conversation right now that's being had of doing away with property tax. Florida's already proposing it on a state level. You're starting to hear senators and Congress people, and even Trump is starting to talk about doing away with property tax. In Tennessee, if we do away with property tax, sales tax is the only way we can, and fees are the only way to fund government. So how does that look? So there's a lot of things kind of brewing, and for what this committee can do is at least start pushing some ideas forward of, well, hey, even if they're bad ideas, at least maybe we can get the rest of the commission talking about it and try to get some sort of plan at least started before it's too late and we just have a mess.
And part of the planning can be business.
Yes.
It's supposed to be full out there by the prison, that business part. The county may need to build
Well, you got to remember, you only have so many acres of the county. And so,
That's what killed.
yeah,
but we have to have a business. We have to do some business.
well, and there's ideas of that too. But when you have a certain amount of acres, you need to start and look, okay, well, we want so much to be agricultural. You want so much to be residential, so much commercial, so much industrial. You don't want so much industrial that it chokes out your residential and your agriculture.
Well, everybody done forgot about that.
Yeah,
So how, and then, so we need to think about as a group, how's the county gonna get money?
well, that's one thing we need to think about, but in doing this, it's the greater thought needs to be, we need to do a growth plan.
Mhm.
Planning commission needs to be a part of that. That's their purview, that's what they're charged to do it, whether the commission does it or not. Planning is actually charged by the state to come up with a plan. And we started, and previous mayor with COVID, it became less of a thing and it just fell apart. We need to get some focus back on that.
I would talk to Amanda.
Yeah.
And get her started on that and see what's involved in it. I mean, I'm sure she has a full load right now.
Yeah.
And that's a big undertaking.
It is, and the previous mayor was using GNRC for that, which, well, we got what we paid for with them.
Right.
But yeah, that's something we're gonna have to hire a company to do that. That's not something I think any of us are qualified to do. We're gonna have to find a firm to come in and do that. Whoever did the original plan, which I don't even know if that company or that entity is still in existence 25 years ago, but they were dead on with all the predictions they made in that plan.
You know, we had a commissioners, ARC,
Mhm.
had a couple meetings. And they invited all the commissioners to come.
Yeah.
And.
That was the start of it.
Yeah, but none of them hardly showed.
GNRC.
Yeah, but no, hardly anybody showed up.
Yeah.
I come to them and we talked about what we needed, what we wanted in this county, part of the county, you know.
Yeah.
And it just,
Yeah.
after that, we done it, but it never did, that was it, died.
Yeah, that's what Mayor Chambers he was starting, and then, well, it died because COVID came in and everything just fell apart.
So maybe it won't die this time.
Well, I don't know how far they got, or if we actually have, because we're not involved with GNRC anymore, if we have any of that information that they
If
have.
we pay them, we get that.
I don't see an offer.
I can reach out and try to see, but I got low expectations on that one.
I don't see an author on this plan.
Yeah,
It may have been local planning at the time when Bill Veazey was a planner for the county.
okay,
I don't find an author. I don't find a name on it.
And I've had discussions with Amanda on, because she was specifically asking when she was doing her staff reports.
Yeah.
Do we have a growth plan?
Yeah.
Well, yes, we do, but
grossly outdated.
she said, well, that might be something that we need to do in the future. And
Yeah.
I said, I think you're right.
I think it's something, based on the discussion here and discussions we've had in planning, I think it's something we need to start doing sooner than later.
Yes. Amanda Harrington, she is our planning consultant that we hired.
Yeah.
And you asked about how to go about limiting
Mhm.
the R3. The county can establish a policy, and you'd have to talk to Brandon about how to make it
Reality.
so it's able to pass the reasonable person test.
Yeah.
The courts tend to look at that. They want to know what would a reasonable person do in this situation. It's got to be fair. It has to be something that can be applied across the board to anybody that comes in with a rezoning request, or you get in trouble quick.
Yeah.
But you could, in the meantime, in the interim, establish a policy on what would be looked at favorably for a zoning request. And, that might slow down some of the applications that come in. If you say, this, and this is likely to get approved, you can't speak for the commission at any given time.
Yeah.
But if you establish a policy of what to look for, what to think about up front, that might have an effect on it.
The other thought I had was possibly changing the R3 density.
We do that. You can't affect what's already been,
Yeah.
but you could affect moving forward.
Because like right now, it's 12 units an acre.
That's what we remain with. That's what stays.
So, I mean, that might be another way of adjusting it. Drop that down to 10 or 6 an acre.
Is that on what we just passed tonight? The 12 an acre?
Well, yeah, but that's,
Do we need to change?
no, No, because we were not changing, we
Okay.
weren't making any changes, we were just cleaning up.
Okay.
I did not want to get into anyone saying that, well, you snuck stuff in.
If
I
you-
wanted it to be a clean thing.
if you made that change, you'd have to do R3 and PUD.
Well, no, you'd have R3 would be that, and then, yeah, you'd have to make the change in PUD also.
Yeah.
To change that. I mean, that's one way to do it. It,
That'd be the only way I'd see you to control density.
yeah. You know, and because that is stated in the zoning is what your density is in an R3. But like I said, there are parts of the county that, like, if you go on down East Main, you've got all those trailers, the single wide trailers there on the south side of the road.
Yeah, right.
Well, but
Not all of them.
but that would, I mean,
I've been there 50 years.
yeah, I could see that getting cleaned up and running, quadplex in there, and it would look better than it does now. So it would benefit the community for
But they
that.
were
Right.
concerned down there about the water runoff.
Flood, yeah. So, I mean, I can see where it's still applicable to have those quadplexes, and there's still a place for them. The point is by going and doing a plan, you can lay it out, and it's a plan. It's not just haphazardly thrown together, and then all of a sudden, well, you let my neighbor do it, why can't I do it?
Is there any, like, some of these old rundown houses down East Main?
Yeah.
Is there any way to give some kind of incentive to, hey, if you wanna do something, tear that down and go there,
They're on such small lots, so. I don't think.
Well, not necessarily just for apartments, but even like a new house.
Yeah.
And
Well, there's been grants through the state to, that you qualify for to get but you have to be the owner and living in the house in order to qualify for those. A lot of those houses that are run down are rentals, my understanding. So that's
And if the lots are really small, they wouldn't necessarily fit in your setbacks and everything.
an exception
It'd be
to,
lots of
define the-
record, they're the same footprint.
put some kind of exception in there,
well, that's,
making it better than what it is.
if we were going to go that route, that'd be the perfect application for the PUD zoning. That way you could give them the
Exceptions.
exceptions for that. And you would know they're gonna build another house in that, So that would be, like I said, but the PUD zoning just, it cleans so much up for the county of knowing what's where.
That road cleaned up and made nice.
Like, it'd be beautiful, yeah.
I mean, that was one of,
It used to
that
be,
was the,
yeah,
Yeah.
You can
yeah, from Goose Creek on up to, well, right there around, Texas Boot. I mean, those were all used to be really nice homes.
all the way.
There's one in there that's already fell down.
If you change the density at R3, I would change it in the PUD also.
Yeah.
It's sitting at 4.35 for single family and 12 for multifamily now.
Can we put that on our agenda to come up with, to discuss?
Well, like I said, this is really something that needs to be done in planning.
Okay,
I wanted to have a discussion to try to at least have the conversation to find out where this body was on it. Because if it goes through planning, it's gonna have to come before the full commission. Now, the full commission doesn't have to accept the plan that planning comes up with. But my understanding is planning can still abide by the growth plan that they come up with. So all the recommendations would be based on that plan coming to the commission. The commission can still approve or not approve rezonings, but there wouldn't be as many favorables if what was coming didn't agree with the plan that planning came up with. It just makes life easier if we're all on the same page, looking at the same plan for the county. But we've got to do something. I mean, we're just having random stuff pop up and then everyone's upset. And there's always that, not in my backyard. That's that one group that we deal with constantly. Then there's the other group of, well, why don't we have anything in Hartsville? Well, because you don't want it in your backyard. I mean, there's that back and forth there.
Like the lady with the guy that was gonna come to Kerr's church.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't. I got to miss that. That was great.
He there didn't do it. He backed out.
And yeah. So, all right. So that's about as far as we can go right now with that discussion. We'll reach out. Well, I guess there's one other thing we can do here. Do we want to send, do we want to send this topic to planning for their discussion? I mean, we can, if you guys want to make a motion that we, request planning take up this,
The growth thing.
the growth
Yeah,
plan.
I think we need to.
It does be too.
And don't confuse the growth plan that you got that was required by 1101.
Yeah.
Growth law back in 2000. Don't confuse that with a general plan for the county that you can do outside that.
Yeah.
There's a process to go through to amend your growth plan. You can leave the growth plan as it sits and have a separate document that is a guidance, a general plan.
Mhm.
They need to recognize your growth plan, but it's not specific. And another plan to follow could be more specific on where and how.
Based on this conversation, I would say it needs to be more specific.
I agree. It would have to recognize it because it's there. It's a historical document.
Yeah.
But it can go farther than that growth plan did in 2000. And you don't have to go through the process of getting it approved by a local government planning advisory committee and all the steps that lead up to that.
Okay. And that'll be something for Amanda to be able to take on it when it gets to planning. All right,
So you have a motion
waiting on a motion.
Jeff made it.
You made, okay. So there's a first, there's a motion,
Second.
second. All in favor? Any opposed? It passes. So I'll pass along a formal request to planning to pick that up. And, we'll see where that goes. You got anything?
Question for you.
Yep.
Do you want to do growth plan along with the new ordinance at the same meeting or,
No,
okay,
no, I think that's too much
Yeah.
with what we already
I
have.
wouldn't call it a growth plan.
No,
It'd be confusing. I'd call it a development plan or general plan. Or,
yeah, a general plan.
Plan.
Yeah,
yeah.
so, for the last 2 months, I've been doing a training with the Board of Zoning Appeals that also people in planning can also look at. It's on, zoning, land use, county ordinances and the permitting process. And so I have a booklet, I have a handbook so that people can start learning about, okay, what is it in the permitting process? What do we look at that incorporates a lot of what we've been talking about in our ordinances? The land use charts, how to look at that. I've been handing, you guys know the land use charts that I've been handing out at county commission meetings when we start looking at rezonings. Because I've been asked, well, what is the difference between an A1 piece of property and an R1 piece of property? What's allowed there? So it's been taped. I do have handouts. Yeah. You also, if you're on the planning commission, you'll be able to get your training credits from looking at those as well. So if you're interested, just let me know.
that
Happy to
brings,
send that information.
sorry, that brings up another thing. I'm gonna reach out to CTAS. We're required 8 hours of training every year. Because we serve on this subcommittee, I'm gonna try to see if I can get, what,
4 hours
no, it's 8 hours now. They upped it. And
for
if you-
everybody.
for county commissioners.
Not for planning and these 4 hours for
Okay.
them.
Yeah, it's 4 hours for them, but it's 8 hours for us. I'll
I knew it
double
was 8
check.
hours for me. I didn't know it was 8 hours for
They-
members.
They changed in 23, they changed the law and they put, there's still not really teeth to it, but commissioners got an increase in our continuing education. And in it, they say that you're not allowed to run again if you don't have your hours completed.
Oh, yeah?
But Amy says, when I talked to her about it, she said she looked into it. She says there's not really any enforcement to it, but they do require that we have 8 hours. And I'll double check that. But anyway, I bring it up because I'm gonna try to talk with CTAS to see if the hours we do doing the planning and training can qualify for what we do as commissioners. It should. Because I've got a lot of training that's not being accounted on my account right now as a commissioner because of the planning. So I'm gonna talk with them and get a definitive answer. Um,
I was only thinking about planning commission stuff.
yeah. So the training that she's mentioning, though, I think would be great for all of y'all to have an understanding so that as we're having these discussions, if you know the processes and what's taking place, it makes it easier to be able to give an informed opinion on how we should make any changes or if we should make changes.
And it counts or doesn't.
I don't know. I'm gonna talk to CTAS.
And when Amy sent that email,
Mhm.
there was a deadline.
It was.
September, isn't it?
It's the end of this month. Yeah, because according to CTask, I got 20 hours that I owe, but that's been over my term. So they haven't counted any of my planning yet. So I've got to contact
If you owe
them
20, I thought you were just saying we don't have to do it.
Well-
A year,
a year.
maybe a year.
In 3 years, that's 24. So they haven't counted any of my planning because they don't have it on their records. So I've got to make sure that they have copies of my hours that I've already done through planning that offsets.
And people who got grandfathered in, do they ever have to do that?
Nope, they're grandfathered in. That one right there. But yeah, all the rest of us do. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make motion, Jared?
All right, all in favor?
I did-
There we go.